The weird scenario we're in right now with esports that traditional sports doesn't have to deal with is game developers can dictate when they push updates, when they change things, when they change rules. There definitely have been teams who have lost a lot of money because of things like that.
So Valve suddenly came up with the idea that a coach cannot be the in-game leader for a team anymore.
No one really saw it coming, no one knew the timing, so that really hurt a lot of teams.
That helps some players, at least it helped all the in-game leaders like myself, so I was really happy about the change.
Valve don't want the coaches to be as involved in the game, calling the shots, developing the strats, the in-game leader role, which has always been a player in the game. Valve are just like, this is too far away from what the actual game is for the general player. We want to bring it back towards that.
All of a sudden, with that kind of a reduced role, they don't have like necessarily a salary. Maybe their organizations say, if you have less of an impact, we're going to pay you less.
Yeah, I remember this update that was like 2 years ago or something, where they changed the movement and I think the accuracy on some weapons as well. And of course that made problems for some players.
They didn't want the op to be as powerful as it was in players like Kenny S and JW's hands.
And they're going to be nading off, and JW, of course, lands the first shot. They're going to be fully aware, make it a double. That's like one of the sickest rounds that's ever happened in CSGO.
When they changed how the scoping worked, how the movement with the AWP worked, that was a big change, and we've seen JW has never really been the same as an opper since then. At least not in consistency level, and same with Kenny. Those kind of movement-based, aggressive styles of opping really got hindered. To a certain degree, Valve and the game devs want to make the players happy. They also have to consider the fact that they have millions of players in this player base that they also have to make sure the game is still fun for. They can't just cater every single change to the professional community, to the competitive community. So they kind of have that unlucky task of having to find the middle ground between those two, and it's obviously not always going to be the happiest for the people who want to play this game competitively and on a professional level. It is very interesting that there are developers that don't necessarily always consider the timing within the esports context, and the rules that they make in these timings can have a massive impact on how a team performs. I mean, there's probably all sorts of things that, if not long term, but definitely in the short term, have hindered players and teams' chances to win prize money.
When it comes to like the pace of a patch, the pace of an update, that's what can really screw over teams and make it much more difficult for them to do their jobs, because perhaps they just invested 2 months into this one strategy that works off of this patch. They're starting to develop this strategy, it took them a month to do it, and then the patch comes out and all of that time is wasted, right?
If ever there was something to make Fnatic move fast, I think it's probably Tech-9s. They seem to work even better when you're running. They have the flashbangs, they're going up short. It's an actual Tech-9 train. Almost the most viral thing I can imagine. Alu up in the A-bomb site might get overwhelmed here. Olofmeister picks up the first kill, a second kill. Flusher comes in, Alu's down, it's Forest and Exist left, and this is working beautifully for Fnatic.
I don't think that the game needs to be updated every 2 months, for example, because that doesn't give enough time, nearly enough time, for the pro players to adapt and to truly figure out like all of the little differences that come up when a new patch comes out.
Yeah, of course it can be difficult when you travel so much and suddenly there's an update with changing a lot of things. That can be really tough, but we are in a process and hopefully it will stop someday with all the updates, but for now I think it's good that they try to improve the game.
You have to keep that in mind, is that this is a business. They are making a game. They are trying to make money from the game so that they can continue to develop the game. So I'd much rather have an active developer team who are working on the game, even if some of the changes don't necessarily directly benefit the pro players.
At some point we got to stop it just to be able to just sit down and just know that this is the game.
Players have to have accepted at this point that at times there are going to be changes that force them to relearn different things. I think that's part of being a professional in esports.